there is a principle here. I've watched you treat people badly. You do just dispose of them when you've had enough. You seem to
That's one way of looking at it.
You seem to be very uncomfortable about having strong people around you, people who think for themselves and have opinions. Now,
that could be perceived, but it isn't true.
Okay. I came on board to work with you for Millennium Mind. We had problems around my pay with Divine Unity. That got sorted out eventually. I didn't agree to work for nothing for 6 months and just be disposed of. I agreed to work for you hard on the basis we were going somewhere, and the going somewhere was well understood until you decided we weren't going there. Then that changed the ball game.
That direction, John. So again, where I made a mistake is when I knew in my gut that I wasn't ready. And I knew that my office was a mess. I knew that I had a spiritual issue with SAI that I had not sorted out yet. Mm-hmm. I knew that none of that was in place. And all of those have to do with the unfolding of my growth as a human being. Now, you can judge me as being a despicable person, unable to have relationships with others, or however you want to frame that.
I frame it
in
as
your mind.
Being an employer that didn't follow through on the agreements that we had. But I'm very happy.
But so this is where you get confused. Were you a partner of Millennium Mind? Were you an employee of a Millennium Mind? I thought that we were signing a temporary filing, and I did not know that that was a permanent filing. I did not know that. And if I had known that, I wouldn't have gone forward with it.
Is there such a thing as a temporary filing?
You told me there was.
I didn't tell you there was such a thing as a temporary filing.
You told me that everything, that all of the things that we were filing were filed on a temporary basis.
I didn't say that. And if you read the memos, you will see that I set up the charities with people that happened to be around as temporary directors that had nothing to do with Millennium Mind at all.
Okay. So, John, as things have gone down the road, which I was in a very unstable, fucked up, stressed out place for most of the time that I was in your presence. Okay, as things have gone on, and I have followed the directives that I have been given, and SAI has been straightened out, certain individuals, certain directions are not appropriate for what I'm doing. It's true, they've been eliminated. And rightfully so, happily so, beautifully so. Mm-hmm. So that now SAI and Millennium Mind have reached a place of integration. Mm-hmm. As soon as that reached its place of integration, suddenly here I am with major spiritual teachers coming to me, and they have also received the divine plan. Mm-hmm. And we are going to continue to work together on global guardianship initiatives. That is what we will be doing.
I'm pleased for you.
So the fact that I had to move through a certain period of instability, mm-hmm. a certain period of sorting out. Mm-hmm. And when you come back to your principle that how dare you cast me off, or Nora or whoever, what I'm saying is that I had to define what my life was going to be about for myself. And you are absolutely correct. I am not willing to partner in my immediate effect of creation with anyone. I won't do it, not for a very long time. Good. I'm not ready. I'm not well enough defined. It just isn't going to happen. Now, for me to work under the umbrella of other organizations because their infrastructure is together, right now, that's working for me. Good. But my priority and my commitment is to bring through the block of information that I have promised mm-hmm. to bring through. Wonderful. That is not inherently bad.
I'm not suggesting it is.
But you are suggesting it
Devra, if you will listen to me, what I'm hearing you saying, if you will let me get a sentence, in every now and again.
Condemn me, John.
I'm not condemning you.
You have, over and over again. If you want to hear all the comments that come back to us, you condemn me quite vehemently, often.
Devra, this is a mirror thing. This is you. I meet Joseph and Barbara in a restaurant, and Joseph very nervously says to me, "Oh, John, we'll have to come round sometime." And I laugh at him. I say, "Joseph, you're not even allowed to talk to me. Why would you want to come round?"
Why would he not be allowed to talk to you?
Because everyone apparently has been told we're on the outside, and that's how it works with you. Either people are loyal and dutiful with you, or they're outcasts. There's no in between.
John, you are our neighbor. That is fact. And to have a neighborly relationship with you would be what I would hope for.
Me too.
Rather than to have, that's not clearly going to happen. If you want to drag it into a big courtroom absurdity.
I don't want to do that, Devra.
But then you come back to the principle. The reason you are suing me is because I did not treat people well. Is that
no? That's not what I said.
Then come back to the principle, because I still don't get it.
Okay, I'll explain
and whether
it to
I understand it or not.
If you let me speak.
Sure.
I'll try to explain it briefly in limpid clarity. And that is that we came together. I volunteered to work with you in Millennium Mine, which was a for-profit, and it was going in the direction of for-profit. Now, what I'm hearing is that along the way, I don't quite know when, your objectives changed. And that is fine. That is not a problem. Just let me finish. The indisputable fact is that I did work and work hard for 4 or 5 months for you. If the directions change, that's not a problem. We're not going forward to...
I don't feel like that's true. I don't feel like we actually addressed Millennium Mine, to both of our dismay, very much. We spent very little time on Millennium Mine. Very little time at all. To my extreme dismay. That's what happened.
Devra, there's a huge amount of energy that went into Cactus to get our publicity material up.
I ended up designing that myself in October, John.
Sure, I'm not arguing that. What I'm saying is that there's a lot of energy gone into Millennium Mine.
But it was at such a minuscule level compared to what the unfolding of something actually is.
Yes, and the initial letter that we sent out to everyone announcing it was very precise. It showed where it was going, where it fitted in, and so on. And
but I
we were working.
Practice for the development of the logo.
Of course you did.
That was not your creation. It was not your vision.
I'm not inferring that it was.
Okay, so...
What I'm inferring is if you pay Cactus, you pay me for my time, please.
Well...
That is the nub of it.
I have principles also. I have principles also.
And what is your principle in having me around you for 5 months?
30 or 40 people that witnessed you tell the whole group that you were not supporting me for the money, that you were not involved with it for the money, that you were really there to serve the masters and serve Millennium Mine, and for you it was not about money. And I'm saying what I've witnessed as things progressed, and what I believe is that actually it was about your pay and your money. That's what I feel. Now, as far as Millennium Mine having anything to do with the corporate world, the premise of it is a concept. It is a teaching. It is a teaching that can be translated into a school for financial paradigms, perhaps sometime in Europe. It will not be for-profit either.
You're saying this now. That was not the case when we started. It was for-profit. It's documented as being for-profit.
Do you feel, just at some juncture point of human relationship, John, do you feel that there's any possibility that you as a businessman were very clear on your concept and how things should go, but I, not having that background or that focus or even that orientation, was not clear on it at all? I wasn't.
I don't accept that, Devra. For 2 reasons. One, we had so many meetings, almost daily. The other thing is that you don't allow anyone to go off and do anything on their own. That you are the ultimate control freak.
Absolute control freak, John. Yeah. And I continue my affairs exactly along those lines.
As you did with Millennium Mine until you change your mind.
I am going to continue to be the sole person no one else who has an effect on the direction that I am going in, because it is a very fine line that I'm walking. And I'm not strong enough, and I was not strong enough with you. I was not strong enough to walk this undefined fine line with anyone else's influence. I could not walk it with you. I could not walk it with Nora. The direction Nora wanted to take the teaching had nothing to do whatsoever with the destiny of that school. Not that what she wants to do is invalid. It is very valid. I think I benefited from it a lot, but it is not what the assignment is.
Well, here's the paradox, you see, because while I was away in St. Lucia, we had that long telephone conversation where you just wanted to get rid of the school and go on with Millennium Mind.
Right.
So what does it matter if you want to get rid of it, what she does with it?
Because I didn't understand the way in which Millennium Mind was to cascade into the container of SAI. I couldn't fathom how that would be possible, because I banged my head against the wall for years with no success at all. Just drained from it. But when I set the standards and we turned people, a lot of people, away from the school this winter, John. You're at a certain level. The school is a school of world service, period. So now, the programs, Peace Promise Initiative, all of the things that the Masters assigned to us is the school. And either you are there to participate in these projects, or you don't participate in the school at all. So that is the definition that things have gone in, which is working really well,
sure.
Or at least has a promise of working well. As I go to Los Angeles, where I'll be doing public speaking, there's a whole crew of initiates who are now going with me.
That's wonderful.
A whole crew that went to Amazon. So it is defined very differently. Partly because I couldn't see it, partly because I was in a miasm myself of feeling ripped off and just like, why am I doing this, exhausted and so forth. Partly because I just hadn't given it the time that it needed, because this is so new. It needed to gel. And I will be honest with you, there's probably 30% more in terms of what this actually is that has not even been defined to me yet. And so the container of what Millennium Mind was, it was pushed in a direction that it was not intended to go in, which is why.
Pushed by whom, Devra?
To some degree, by both of us. But because I'm saying,
I remember
John,
the wonderful
I gave up my power to you. I thought you were the expert. You knew how things could work. I was sick and tired of dealing with the office, exhausted to death trying to deal with it, beating my head against the wall to deal with it. And here you were, Prince. I was happy to have Prince Charming show up on my step, except that I got a warning that the Masters did not want it to go in the direction that we were taking it in. I can't help that.
I'm not saying that you can. I'm just taking you back to a time when we were talking about the for-profits. At your behest, I went off and gathered things about private airlines and aeroplanes and so on.
And you had been connecting with the source of information, whatever you want to call it, and before you left on your sabbatical and so on with your wife, I said, John, please go to the Masters and really see what they are telling you. And when we spoke, we had a rather long conversation when I was in the lake. I said the same thing. I thought, and I believed, that you would get the same information that you would back off of me. I believed that you would get the same information and that we would be on the same page, and then you could make your decision whether or not this fit what you really wanted to do with your life, because I kept saying the transmissions